Hello and welcome to episode 90 of Daryl Show Your Work. So, continuing with the overall theme of using Hydra to brute force our protocols, I wanted to revisit a brute forcing the SSH protocol. This time, again, similar to my last video, where I showed the alternative method of how we could brute force the FTP protocol with Hydra instead of the metasploit exploitation module. The same thing here. We're going to brute force SSH with Hydra instead of going through the metasploit framework, finding a module there to get that work done. So it should automate it and simplify it just a tad bit more. All right. So I'm gonna preface this video like I always do anytime I do any offensive security activities or red teaming. This is for research, educational, and ethical purposes only. Any sort of malicious behavior that may directly or indirectly come from someone watching my video, I do not take responsibility for, nor do I condone. So we're going to start this time. We're going to start off with some host discovery this time. I haven't done that in a while. So let's start off with doing the ifconfig and find out who I am. Okay, so I'm located here. Since this is a private internal network here that I'm on Ethernet 1, and my IP address is here 192.199.67.2. All right, so I want to find out who my neighbors are and which of them are awake right now. So in order to do that, I'm gonna say fping -a -g, and so I'm gonna say within the neighborhood of 192, 199.67, and so because I'm giving them my CIDR, we're gonna say 0/24, and so I want to see who's awake in the entire neighborhood, aka this is going to ping my entire network, and it's going to tell me what other machines are up and running. All right, so we got three. One is probably the gateway, two is me, so three is it's going to be drew the short straw. It's going to be my target host. All right, so and let's paste that up here, so in case I have to I know I'm going to have to use that, so let's just put that right there and copy it. All right, so the next thing that I want to do is let's see what ports are open on point three's machine. So hopefully we're looking at to see if port 22 is indeed open, because that is the default port of SSH of the SSH protocol, and that's the target point for this video. Excuse me, the target protocol for this video. So I'm gonna do a server scan here, and we're gonna aim that at .3. All right, let's run that. All right, it came back pretty fast. All right, so looks like that port 22 is open. It's indeed running the SSH protocol on it. All right, and this just gives us the version of that protocol is running open SSH 7.9 P1. All right, so the next thing I want to do is again, we want to use Hydra to try to see if we can brute force and gain some user credentials here. So we want to be able to gain usernames and password combinations, clear text username and password combinations, to try to make a legitimate to try to authenticate legitimately into a SSH server. All right, so let's start up Hydra. All right. Then I'm gonna say dash capital L, and this is where I would specify the location of the word list that I'm going to use to conduct my dictionary attack against against the user, first the username and then the password. But right now I'm specifying the word list for the username. All right. All right. These are just this is just the directory that it's housed in. All right. It's in word list, and then the file is called common underscore users. All right, and then I'm gonna do dash capital P, and then it's going to be in the same directory, but of course a different file name, and this is the location of the word list that I'll be conducting a dictionary attack against to find the respective password for each username found. And the name of this file is common passwords. Just move this out their way here so you can see what's going on. All right. All right. So just check in my syntax here. Just make sure I didn't goof anything up. Okay. I need to put actual work at the end of framework. Here we go. And the I in metasploit. It's always good to check your syntax when running anything on the command line. The slightest misstep or misspelling or missing of a omission of a character will have you scratching your head potentially for hours. My framework, or at least for a few annoying minutes. Okay, I should be good to go. Comment, you think it's users. Hold on, let me see. Called another one here. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's execute this. And it still didn't like something I wrote. Okay. You know what? I did again. I forgot to tell it where we're aiming it at. All right. So let me give it the speed, and then well, hold on. First, let me give it the IP address before I give it the speed that I want to run. There we go. All right. So that's our target. Then specify how fast I want it to go. So this is going to take a while just to get some forewarning here. So you could fast forward this, either as you see that the passwords are being a password, the username passwords are being cracked, or all the way to where it's Hydra's done. But just a forewarning, it's going to take a few minutes here to run. And again, what this is going to return is every instance of a clear text username and password that is able to crack by executing this dictionary attack. And it should find maybe 6 or 7 different usernames or passwords. And I'm going to choose which one of those to try to make a legitimate authentication into the SSH server. All right. So unlike Metasploit, I'm not setting a parameter here to stop on success, because I'm not just looking for one successful username password crack, but any potential one. So I could have just a list of different accounts I can log in with. All right, so I'm hit enter, and it still didn't like that. Okay, I got to spell metasploit right. Okay, there we go. All right. All right, we got our first username and password combination of sysadmin and Haley. All right, look like we got our second, Rudy and Pineapple. All right, we have our third username demo, password butterfly1. All right, we got our fourth combination, username auditor, password Xbox 360. All right, we got our fifth, which is anon and username anon and password 741852963. All right, we got our what is this? The 6 administrator, which is the username, and then we can have the password as password1. And I believe it should be finishing up here. It should be finishing up here soon. Right, and we got our last one here, number 7, which is username diag and password secret. All right, so I'm gonna go for the low hanger fruit this time, and I'm gonna try to start a SSH session using the administrator account. All right, so in order to log in using the SSH protocol to the target host, I'm gonna say SSH, and then give it a username that I want to try to log in with, which is administrator. All right, and I'm gonna put at, and then this is where I'm gonna specify the target host IP address. All right, and then I'm gonna hit enter, and it's gonna ask me for the password. All right, first I'm gonna tell it yes. All right, and then I'm gonna give it the password, which is password1, and I am in. All right, so there's no flags in this particular video. This is not a capture the flag edition, but I do want to show you some sensitive information that we could potentially dump and use, which is, I mean, kind of useless to us now because we already have the information I'm going to find. But I just want to show how we could do that. So I'm going to say, hi, who am I? And of course, we know I'm administrators. And if I want to see what groups, user groups, the administrator belong to, I'll just say groups administrator. All right. And then, so administrator is part of the administrator group. All right. And so let's say I want to know what distribution of Unix I'm running, what operating system I'm running here. So I will say cat, which is I need to give it a space here actually. Cat, which displays the contents of whatever you specify after it. So I wanted to specify um, what's in the Etsy folder, the asterisk issue file, which is going to tell me what version of Linux I'm running. So it shows me that I'm running, well, at least the target here is running Ubuntu 19.04. Let's say I wanted to know the kernel information. All right. So I would say uname -r. All right, so that tells me that gives me the kernel information for that operating system. And let's say I wanted to just to see the contents of the Etsy passwd file, which gives me all the user accounts. And I mean, we already have um, user accounts here, but just to show you how we can enumerate further and find some potentially sensitive information. And so it gives me the different, see, we can see the different um user accounts down here with sorry about that, didn't mean to do that. Let's go full screen again. Okay, so these are the user accounts that it found here. And so we if we didn't, if we somehow were able to get in without necessarily knowing the credentials for these user accounts. So let's say I did stop at one user account. So let's say I just found a sysadmin user account first, and I stopped there with my Hydra a brute force attack. Well, if I were to do the same thing, logging in as sysadmin, I would be able to find all these other accounts and simply just now, okay, at least now I have usernames, and now I can still use a username file. I could just specify Rudy or demo auditor, as a username within Hydra, and now just shorten the method of the whole process by now just trying to crack or find the passwords while conducting that brute force dictionary attack. All right, so just to give a high level overview of what was done here. So first we did some we did some try to find a target here on the system or within the network. So did some host discovery, finding our target host using the fping, and then once we found our target, we did some initial recon using the nmap tool to then find out if port 22 was open, since that was the target port or the target protocol that we were looking to exploit, that being SSH. And then, so once you found out that that was open and indeed running SSH on that default port, um, then ran the Hydra um, brute force tool, conducted a dictionary attack against to find any sort of usernames, common usernames or common passwords, which it found seven username and password combinations. So I logged in here using the administrator account, found out that username and password combination was still valid. Came in here, did some further enumeration about the operating system, the kernel, and then just showed us how we could gain access to system information such as other user accounts, find out what those user accounts names are, and then make any further sort of password cracking easier by reducing the parts of the credentials that we would have to find, instead of just having to find just both usernames and passwords, that we could just reduce it down to just passwords for known accounts. All right, so please like, share, and subscribe, and most importantly, show your work. Until next time, take care of yourself and God bless.